Hello. This is a two-pronged thing, really, to say thank you to everyone who has donated and to give a little bit of intel as things have moved dramatically, really, since we last spoke. So thank you to everyone who made a donation. I'm delighted to say that the bills have been cleared, they've been covered. I know a number of you don't use PayPal, and many of you just couldn't make the payment anyway, even though you tried. I use PayPal because it's the easiest and it hasn't so far given us any serious trouble. Some of the others I tried, it just was a nightmare. So somebody wanted to pay me in crypto. I don't do crypto. It's sometimes so kind people send me checks from America, $20, $50, $100 even. But what people don't realize in the United States is that in many parts of Europe and in Britain, you can't change a check in dollars. I think if you're a corporation or you're a business, you can, but if you're an individual, they won't do it. So it's quite a shock, I think, to Americans who think that the dollar is universally accepted. Well, it is, but on a greenback, but not on a check. So everyone who donated, thank you. We've got all our bills for our internet, our email, our server. We've got that covered. That's a great help, and I'm really, really much obliged to everyone who's contributed to do that. So a bit of intel, really. And I said earlier that there's been some dramatic changes. I think most of you will have picked them up, although perhaps it's not as obvious. Certainly, some of the intel providers, particularly those along the RV route, have been very forcibly sat on, which is not a bad thing. I don't necessarily believe that any one intel provider could derail or sabotage the entire operation. But if you think about my position for 4 or 5 years, I've been very circumspect in what I've said. And in recent months, I've been very quiet. Nobody had to sit on me. It was just very obvious that things were developing and I wasn't going to be the one to, cause any issues. So there will be a reduction in intel on the financial side, but not necessarily on the geopolitical side or the military side. Unfortunately, to my mind, a lot of the people now reporting don't have the best intel. I'm not going to say they're making it up. That would be rude, but I think they don't have the best intel, and certainly they're not checking it. So I wanted to give you what I believe to be true based on what I've been told. So first of all, the battle for the hearts and minds of America and the world is still on. I'm still not allowed on YouTube. And President Trump just recently signed an executive order to ban censorship amongst, he named a couple of the social medias, but it's right across social media. Unfortunately, I think that just relates to American citizens. So as it stands, I probably won't be allowed back onto YouTube until more of the deep state is taken down. But nevertheless, that's a really good move that President Trump has signed an executive order beginning to dismantle the woke, but it's worse than that. It's the censorship of any patriot, so that at least Americans can start speaking more freely, even though the rest of us who are patriots are still shut out. I'm amazed. People meet me after 3 years or meet my team after 3 years and say, whatever happened to Simon Parkes? And people look at them blankly and say, what do you mean? Well, he's disappeared. No, he was banned from YouTube. Oh. Right, so you know the news. I hope you do, that the National Guard are going to be sent into Washington, D.C. It's got nothing to do with moving vagrants, rough sleepers, homeless people. It's got nothing to do with that. It's got very little to do with the lawlessness in terms of crimes against individuals, although this will help. It is not about underground bases in DC. It's not about tunnels. They have all been dealt with. This is about politically and militarily ring fencing the District of Columbia out of the new republic. Because although the District of Columbia is separate from the United States of America, it is connected through a back door so that all the politics and money under the deep state could be moved. What the president is doing is politically, militarily putting a steel fence, shall we say, around the District of Columbia so that it is no longer an entity operating within the United States of America, but specifically the Republic, the states. That's a really important move. And for those who are not American and don't realize it, Congress is on holiday. They are on vacation. It's very, very important then that this operation takes place while the lawmakers are vacated from their seats, to use the technical term, which allows the president actually more flexibility to get in there and do what needs to be done. Now, begs the question, what about the Vatican? What about the City of London in England, Great Britain? The Vatican has been largely dealt with. That was a very empty edifice with a few key people. Several times a year, they would move money and do things. Very easy to take apart the Vatican. The City of London, a completely different kettle of fish, as we say in Britain, that it's a system of banks, a system of finance houses, one of the biggest in the world, certainly the most prestigious in the world. And you can't just literally go in and do whatever. So I think that is a job for an incoming prime minister. And if Nigel Farage is listening to this, Nigel, I hope that you do win an election, because there's a lot of catching up to do. Great Britain has a lot of catching up to do with the United States. And that type of action is going to require a prime minister that actually is not beholden to the deep state. And of course, Nigel Farage is not beholden to the deep state. So that's a really, really important position. On the 15th of August, which is this coming Friday, but I want to go back in time machine, 15th of August, 1971, Nixon took the United States off the gold standard. No coincidence, 15th of August, this Friday, President Trump and President Putin are scheduled to meet in Alaska. Alaska, of course, was bought from the Russians by the Americans. The irony is quite something. So we've got 1971, 15th of August, Richard Nixon taking the US off the gold standard. And here we are on the coming Friday for the two presidents to get together and see what they can do. So with the tariffs now well underway, with the general public convinced of the vast amounts of money that have come in, it will not be a surprise to the general public if President Trump decides to give some tariff rebates, maybe $40,000, $50,000 to each person. I don't know the figures. That is a possibility. Where the money really comes from doesn't matter. That is a gift that I know the president is determined to make to his people. Poor all the rest of us who don't have that. We don't have a President Trump. We don't have tariffs like that. We have in Great Britain, we have a terribly woke government verging on communist, which is destroying itself and has lost the trust of the British people in a record time, 1 year, record time. You know, it's funny. I'm old enough, just about. Harold Wilson was British Prime Minister, won the general election in 1964. I think he had a majority of about 3, 4, 5, 6 seats. And he staggered on until 1966. And I think he had a majority of 1. And then he had a real landslide. And even the Tory newspapers were grudgingly had to say of Harold Wilson between 64 and 66 that he held his group of people together. And as an ex-politician, I can tell you that if you have a huge majority, everyone fights amongst themselves. But if you have a very small majority, you're focused, and I've said this before, your mind is focused on the opposition, whichever that might be. And so we've got now a Labour government with a huge majority ripping itself apart. And it can't come soon enough, frankly, because this country needs to be set free. I can't see the Liberal Democrats doing it. I can't see the Greens doing it. I can't see any of the extreme left-wing or extreme right-wing groups doing it. But I can see Nigel Farage. If he gets the support from the British people, I can see him having the guts and the determination to do along the lines what President Trump has done. So, right, that's it. Thank you very much. Now, I'm not going to do the RV stuff because it's too damn sensitive. It's too damn sensitive, and I don't need to make a song and dance about that. Hopefully, if you've listened to me before, you know the position. So, well done, everyone who has contributed, paid the bills, breathe again, carry on. Looks good from our backers' point of view that the CC community stood up, came forward, made a contribution. So the CC community is definitely spiritual, definitely worth supporting via projects. And you basically proved yourselves again. It's terrible we have to go through life proving ourselves, but that's the way it is. So there we go. Thanks ever so much. God bless to everyone. And I hope that some of you will be able to see Becky in September when she does her spiritual wisdom tour. Thank you.